Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Ginger on Wheels here. Thanks for stopping by the channel where we get to test and unbox the latest electrically wheeled gadgets, including but not limited to the Kingsong S20 Eagle. The thing has a full charge. I just left my house about half a mile ago. I weighed myself in before I left. I'm 224 pounds with all my gear fully strapped up, and we're gonna be doing a range test. I got inspired by Speedy Feet's range test. He just completed his average speed 24 miles an hour, and I think he got a 25 miles total range. It was pretty surprising to me, but I'm gonna see how much range I actually get as a bigger dude. There's no guarantee that it's not gonna start raining. It has been pouring here for like a week and a half straight. This is one random break in the clouds, so hopefully I've got an hour and a half to get this thing down to 0%. Oh, look at the sky over there. There's my little pocket of sun going away. About to just ride underneath that. I'm gonna ride this demo wheel through the rain and we'll see if it actually breaks. Sorry, Alien Rides, that's my job. Now first we've got to do a quick shout out to Alien Rides down in San Francisco Bay Area. They did provide me with this wheel for review, so thanks a lot guys. I do appreciate it. I know you're going out on a limb letting me borrow this thing, because if anyone's gonna break it, it's gonna be me. They've got a few left that haven't been reserved yet in the upcoming batch, so a good time to place a pre-order. It's the only wheel retailer I know of that has a 2-year limited warranty. One other thing, I do have the wheel in strong mode. I feel like that's worth saying because I imagine in like soft and medium modes, it uses a little bit less power. This wheel is also kind of hard to get going. Compared to my RS, it like needs a little bit more user input. It's really heavy, and also it's a Kingsong wheel, so they don't just want to rip away right out of the gates. They tend to have more conservative parameters, which does make it a little harder to get up to speed and maintain speed with it, but it is possible, definitely. But I think it's also relevant, since I'm a bigger guy, that I talk about the torque of the wheel. Now, I'm used to riding around my RS with the Molly-Cell pack, which you basically can't overpower. And I've also got an MSP, so I've got experience, you know, in between. I also own a Sherman, down for repairs right now. But the S20 feels like it has a lot of torque off the line. I am still able to overpower it from a stop. If I really slam my shins into it, I can bend the motor, you know, almost overpower it. No beeps when that happens though. But as long as I'm pretty careful with it, then it's fine. But either way, like I was saying, I can overpower it from the start, or if I'm like starting on a really steep off-road section, but it still does have quite a bit of torque. I would definitely consider this a performance wheel. It's very heavy. I weighed this thing at 79 pounds, not 77 like Kingsong says. And it's pretty top heavy, and the pedals are really high, which is great for expert riders. If you're like, consider yourself a little bit better than medium, this wheel has got a lot of control. You have the ability to control it a lot more if you know what you're doing. If you're buying this wheel to learn on, I would think again, I'd probably get something a little nicer to your body. Like wheel to learn on, I'd go for something like an 18XL or a 16X. Can't go wrong there. I don't know if I can say chode. Can I say taint? My taint feels nice on this seat because it's got the little square cutout in the middle, and it's got suspension. Oh baby, this is nice. Doesn't need that thick of a seat. I don't like big comfy seats anyways. I'm kind of like a bare bones minimum sort of guy. This thing's pretty uncomfortable if you're seated on it just standing there, but when you're riding and you're leaning forward, it's not bad at all. The wheel does require a little bit more user input to get going than other wheels I've tried. Not a lot of torque off the line unless you really, you know, push into it. But when you're sitting on the seat like this, most of your weight is towards the front because the back of the seat's all floppy. And when you're seated towards the front of the wheel, more of your weight is towards the front, and you don't really have to try to get moving like this. I'm cruising about 23, 24 miles an hour, and I'm just kind of sitting. The one downside to that, of course, is that your braking power suffers, but the trolley handle kind of acts as a whoa Nelly handle, and you can slow down pretty easily if you use it. Ooh, 449. No, thank you. Now here we are, just absolutely crushing it. I love this thing. I'm gonna adjust the suspension a little bit, make it softer, because I can do that. I've got my knob on the top here that's for compression. For the off-roading, I'm gonna make it a little bit softer in case I hit any unexpected large bumps. Well, that's scary. I just got an SD error on my GoPro. I've never had that happen before. Probably just having too much fun. Oh wow, I'm used to getting completely rocked by those little rain stops. So much better on the knees. Suspension wheels are the way. They are the future for sure. Maybe I won't buy the Sherman Max. Oh God, I'm so torn. You know what they say, if you can't decide between two wheels, buy them both, and then buy a third one. It's actually kind of grown on me that you have to commit to giving it input for acceleration and braking. I absolutely love the tire. Best tire I've ever ridden on a unicycle. The seat, I was feeling like the first ride, I don't know why they even tried with this seat. It hangs off the back. Generally, it's not your conventional seat. It doesn't feel like a normal seat to sit on. But when you're full sending on the wheel and you're seated, most of your weight's towards the front anyway. And it's got the nice little taint cut out there for the speedometer. It's a pretty comfortable seat. You don't need a lot of squishiness. I like the rigidity because it gives you more control. The pads I wasn't too fond of. I felt like they didn't really fit in like how I'm used to. A lot of other wheels I've ridden, they lock your feet in. Or I've just been running the stock RS pads on my RS, and it took some getting used to, I will say, but once you get them Velcroed in exactly the right position, I mean, they feel fine for me for seated and normal riding right now. I can really torque into the wheel, and she doesn't mind. Another thing that I appreciate very much about this wheel is that it's got fenders, and they do work. You're gonna get some massive splash everywhere if you go through a big puddle. Sorry about that. But it doesn't splash all up on you. It doesn't fly on your backpack. It doesn't go up in the charge ports. That was another thing I was really worried about, the charge ports. Why would you put them there? They're not that easy to get to. I still don't really like the placement as far as convenience, but they're out of the way. You don't notice them. And it is possible to plug in the charger pretty easily, especially if you lift up the trolley handle. You get a little extra room for your hand to go in there. I didn't mean for this to turn out like a wheel review or anything, but I don't know, I'm just sort of used to doing that with stuff I'm riding around on. So I guess this range test sort of turned into a pseudo first impressions review. I know there's a lot of people out there who are pretty stuck in the saying, it takes 100 miles to get used to a wheel. And for this one, I would say that's definitely true. It's very unique, but the uniqueness is what makes it great. I like that it has loads of power when you need it. You can get it wet a little bit. You can really rip on it pretty hard. And when you get home, you don't have to worry about it catching on fire as much as other brands that start with a G and end with Otway. I can't believe this range test is still going. I'm like out of places to go. I'm gonna have to start sounding it out. I might not be going as fast now, but I'm doing a lot of hard stops and accelerating. Pull on the Whoa Nelly handle to slow down. I'm gonna trademark that, the Whoa Nelly handle. That guy's spending $4.50 a gallon. I'm used to being on my Sherman, sitting down. You see a sewer or like a pothole coming up, you sort of stand squat so you can brace for the impact with your knees. Don't need to do that on this. Just eats the bumps like lunch. Oh, I just got the beeps. Of course I'm on like the busiest road of this whole ride. Going about 20 miles an hour, started pushing into it a little bit and it went beep, 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 beep. I'm gonna pop over onto the sidewalk in case I run out of battery, don't want to be in the road. I know Speedy Feet wasn't a huge fan of the seat, and I wasn't either when I first sat on it, but I wonder how much he used it on his range test. I find myself seated about 30% of the time, which probably equates to quite a bit more range. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I also torqued it off-road, so I don't know, give and take. So I just went into a store back there, and I forgot to turn off the Map My Ride app. I didn't push pause, so I don't know how that's going to affect the final numbers, but I was just chilling in and outside the store for like 10 minutes, kind of catching my legs. Legs were starting to get shaky because of how hard I have to push the wheel. Just started getting the tilt back, and it is a brutal tilt back. Can you see the angle of that? It's less than enjoyable. Try and power cycle it here at the bottom of the hill, and hopefully we can get back home, but I think this is going to complete the range test. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna put the final numbers up on the screen now. In conclusion, very impressed with the wheel. Got more mileage than my RS does when I'm ripping through on that thing, and it's much more comfortable to ride on. This is again for like intermediate or advanced riders because it's really top heavy. It is pretty actually heavy and requires a lot of user input. But having the tall pedals and everything, it's really nice to ride off-road and like through technical situations. And seated, I'm a tall guy, so having tall seats is not that bad. I was quite impressed with the suspension. Honestly, very impressed. My opinion has done a complete 180 since I got this thing. Tested it at the Rev Rides demo, rode it around a little bit at the EVs demo, and now I think like I'm actually debating between Sherman Max and this thing. Even though it doesn't have the range, you could just buy 2 fast chargers. But I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on the range test. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm on vacation next week, but I'll get more videos of this thing out as soon as I can.